What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and I'm proud to announce one of my biggest collaborations yet, and that is only possible because of your Crucible Doctor. For those of you who do not know Ascended Nomad, go check out his channel. His content is similar to mine, so if you are a fan of my content, go check his channel out. Again, this collaboration is only possible because of him. He decided to hit me up, message me, we decided to collab together. So what you are about to watch right now is episode 1 of a 6-part series, a 6-part Trials Flawless series. If you want to go flawless your first week, this is it. This is going to be your guide to certain mechanics, certain styles, tools you need to succeed and go flawless. So this episode, I'm going to be talking about loadouts and how you're supposed to, or how you should be selecting your loadout. For starters, if I need to clarify if I am talking to a console player, a controller player, or a PC players, trust me guys, I will clarify that right there. So getting into the main topic at hand, number 1 guys, what determines your loadout? That's a huge question right there. And yes, I know people are gonna say, I already have my loadout set. I have my loadout. Yeah, everybody has their Slayer loadout, but that right there is a good start. That right there is a good base, but we want to build on that Slayer loadout. You want to be able to go into trials and be able to change on the fly if need be, because if you run into that team, it is game number 6. You don't want to lose. You already spent 35 minutes and you go into the match and you know this team right now, you go through 3 rounds against them and they're beating your Slayer loadout. You're going to want to be able to change on the fly. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what determines your loadout. So I'd like to touch up on 3 factors, and we're going to get into number 1 right now. Number 1 is going to be map of the week. Now, this one will vary from week to week, given that we have single maps for every week, and some weeks we might have map rotations. It'll be 3 maps, earth maps, or something like that. But if this is a single map week, this is going to determine your loadout. For short maps, you're probably going to see more hand cannons, more rapid fire pulse rifles. I'll use the map Anomaly. We're going to be getting this one back. You'll see some D1 footage of Anomaly in the background. Overall, guys, Anomaly is a little bit smaller map. You're not going to see too many scout rifles on this map. So majority of Guardians are going to be taking rapid fire pulse rifles because those are shred monsters up close, a couple SMGs, and you know, your good old hand cannons. I'm only going to be touching up on certain weapons, preferably kinetic weapons, only because special weapons are up in the air. You can utilize whatever sniper you want. You can utilize whatever shotgun you want. But I feel like kinetic weapons, or when I mean kinetic weapons, I mean your primary weapon can go a long way. Take this video, for instance. It's not going to be 45 minutes long, guys. I'm not going to talk about every single weapon you could take, but I'm going to touch up on a few outliers that you should have in your loadouts ready to go. Number 1 is going to be the Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten. For those of you who don't know, the perk Magnificent Howl procs on the 3rd headshot. With that right there, keep in mind, so you got a spare rations and you got your Not Forgotten, right? You'll see it in the footage in the background. That spare rations will see damage drop off, and so will the Not Forgotten. But with Magnificent Howl procced, you will be dealing more damage on your 3rd shot, meaning you'll be able to shoot a little bit further out, making this hand cannon a little bit more viable for maps like Anomaly, for smaller maps overall, Javelin 4. And when I mean further out, I mean 1 or 2 meters further out, but also that bonus damage will help you just to deal enough damage just to clean up enemies if you need to. Again, Not Forgotten is a top tier option for me, especially again, if you're on console. This bad boy is a precision frame, and it's got that easy recoil to control. Getting into the next one, guys, on a topic of hand cannons. There's one hand cannon I just made a video about on my channel. Go check it out if you haven't seen it, the Thorn. The Thorn is going to be a very powerful gun, and the reason for that is because of its burn damage. Now, I'm not going to get too much into this gun right here, but keep in mind three key factors on this gun, 3 key reasons to use it. Number 1 is going to be the burn damage is going to allow you to 2-tap Guardians under 6 resilience. Also, the burn damage is going to delay the revival of your enemies. So if your teammate or your enemy is down and their teammate is trying to revive them, by shooting them once, you are delaying their revival, meaning you can keep that player out of the fight, making Thorn huge. And lastly, guys, Guardians are going to want to run 100 recovery. By doing so, they're going to recover quicker. But if you use the Thorn, you can delay that recovery because of the burn damage. Getting into the next hand cannon I'm going to be suggesting. And that weapon is going to be the last word. For those of you who didn't read the TWAB a few weeks back, the last word was going to be receiving some tweaks and adjustments. Some nerfs and minor buffs. This one is a hidden gem. It's a coin flip if you should keep it in your inventory or not. But keep in mind, if you are on console, the last word is going to be receiving a hip fire buff. So for those of you on console, because I've played console, I know how well the last word fires on console hip fire. It feels amazing. This one's out to you guys right now. Last word needs to stay in your inventory because up close on maps like Anomaly, the last word will shred shotgunners up close. So keep that in your inventory. For us PC players, I say still keep in your inventory, but keep an eye out for my review on this gun because I will let you know if it is still top tier or not. While we are on the topic of console, another console gem that has caught my eye is going to be the Crimson. Its high damage output and its healing capabilities, it's not only going to allow you to compete with whatever meta's out there, but it's also going to allow you to stay in the fight. You're going to be getting health regeneration after every kill. Keep that in mind. If you start taking some damage, you're fighting somebody in front of you, and you're almost dead, you kill them, that Crimson is going to allow you to get that health regeneration. Pairing that alongside with most recent buffs to the One-Eyed Mask, the Crimson is going to go a long way, especially on shorter maps where it performs really well. And closing up the hand cannon department, we're going to throw a few other ones out there. Ace of Spades is still going to be really powerful due to its, exotic perk Memento Mori, whatever you want to call it. That right there is going to give you the bonus damage. Its intrinsic high caliber round damage, and also its third eye capability for maps such as Javelin 4, Anomaly, Cauldron. This weapon is going to be extremely powerful. Keep it in your inventory. Spare rations, it's an obvious one. For those looking to utilize the Revoker and you don't want to use the Luna's Howl, the Not Forgotten, you have good weapons like the Jack Queen King and weapons like the Waking Vigil. Getting into rapid fire pulse rifles, and there's going to be one that probably everybody has. If you went grinding for a spare rations, more than likely you're going to have this gun, and that's going to be the Outlast pulse rifle. If you don't have that, go grind a few of them right now. If not, check your vaults. Maybe you have a Horror's Leash or a Claws of the Wolf. You need to check to have those weapons because those weapons are going to be very powerful when it comes to smaller maps. Some of the auto rifles you may want to keep in your inventory are going to be the Monte Carlo, the Hard Light, and I'm going to be probably running the Suros regime. And those are just iffy. For console players, I do recommend the Suros. The Suros is good. The Suros, if you can control the recoil on console, I recommend you run the Suros. I will be utilizing the Suros, when it comes to, smaller maps. Given that hand cannons still don't reign supreme, but again, I play PC and that's a tough one to judge there. Now, when it comes to maps with bigger sight lines and bigger maps in general, such as Shores of Time and Rusted Lands, you have a lot of great options for range. Weapons such as the Blast Furnace, exotics like Jade Rabbit, the Randy's Throwing Knife, all those will work extremely well. Why on bigger maps are people going to play with weapons like these? When it comes to the game mode elimination, by utilizing a weapon you can fire at a safe distance, Guardians aren't going to want to risk their lives. And I can see this happening a lot on any platform that you're on. Maps like Rusted Lands, people are going to try to pick you off from far away with weapons like this. Imagine running around with your spare rations. The enemy team is rocking a Blast Furnace. They're going to try their best to stay out of your range, the spare ration range, and try to melt you with that Blast Furnace because they have the advantage. Same goes for the Mida Multi-Tool, same goes for the Randy's Throwing Knife. So keep that in mind. When it comes to bigger maps and you want to play your life, you want to be too risky, weapons like this are going to go a long way. Now, getting past the first part, which is going to be the loadouts, what determines your loadout? Number two, guys, your enemy loadouts are going to determine the loadout you run. Now, this is one you don't want to overlook. How do you go about this? Well, prior to the match starting, when you're flying in right now, right? You're seeing that little mode that says Trials of Osiris and it goes 3 of 6, and it's looking. Once it says 6 of 6, go to your roster and inspect the enemy team. And I'll just use this as an example. If you recently just became a sniper and your enemies are snipers and you see their snipers got like 10,000 kills, it may not be the best option to try to snipe off against them. But again, this is why I mentioned enemy loadouts determine your loadout. Take this for example. You have 3 enemies rocking 3 shotguns. Maybe Retold Tell is going to be the shotgun they use, right? They're rocking 3 spare rations and 3 Retold Tells. They're going to play in your face. Determine your loadout. Okay, if they're going to play in my face, let me keep a distance. Their spare rations has damage drop off at 30 meters. Let me stay a little bit out of there. Let me use Randy's. Let me use the Blast Furnace. Let me use anything that'll keep me at a distance and keep me safe. Again, guys, getting into enemy loadouts will determine the loadout you use. You have your map selection. If they're going to be playing a big map with their spare rations, use that to your advantage. Use a weapon that you can stay at a safe distance. Getting to the next one, guys. Lastly, number 3, what determines your loadout? Team loadout balance. I guarantee some of you are like, what do you mean team loadout balance? I'm always going to suggest a healthy special weapon balance. This is going to allow you and your teammates to have a pretty much well-balanced team, to have all aspects of the map covered, such as having 2 snipers and 1 shotgun, or 2 shotguns and 1 sniper, just as long as you're comfortable with the loadout you're utilizing. But again, if this is something you're used to with your friends, the guys you run with, and you all like to run the same sniper rifle or same shotgun, then go for it. But this is something that I utilize with my friends. We end up having some special balance there, because I don't like it when an entire team is playing one playstyle. If we all have snipers on, it just takes 2 seconds for the enemy team to recognize that and go, all right guys, put your retold tails on, we're gonna ape these dudes. Because unless you're gonna snipe these guys point blank, it's not gonna happen. You want a healthy special weapon balance. And that's why I like the good old 1 sniper, 2 shotguns, 2 shotguns, 1 sniper. Whatever it is, right? Whatever you guys want to run, it works like that. I'll end the video with this, guys, in mind. If you haven't stepped into the elimination game mode with your friends, I recommend you get some playtime there to shake off the dust. Even if you were a Destiny 1 Trials god, start planning your loadouts beforehand, because when the time comes to it, you know, you're loading into a match, you're game 6, and you see the enemy team can recognize what you're running, then you're in for some trouble, and you're probably going to lose that game if you can't coordinate properly. I always say this: get used to the loadouts you're utilizing. I mention on stream all the time, people ask me, well, Brave, what do I run? And I always say, run what you're comfortable with. This is why I always recommend practicing with weapons that, you know, have an array of weapons that you always use. Don't just use the spare rations and Mindbender. Don't just use the Not Forgotten and Chaperone. Have an array of weapons, because when balances like this change, look at this, guys. It's a week before trial starts. You want to be proficient with everything, because if you load into a map and it's a map like, oh my gosh, Rusted Lands, and your spare rations, your spare bender combo isn't working, we need to change it up a bit. And this is the point of the entire video. Utilize the map to figure out what you need to use. Look at your enemies, what they're using, and overall balance with your teammates. That's gonna help you get wins. Very simple. If you guys enjoyed the video, guys, stay tuned for the next upcoming episodes. I'm telling you, there's gonna be 6 episodes that are going to just blow your mind, because when you start watching episode 1, you're gonna want more and more and more, and by the time Trials comes, you're gonna be like, Brave, Nomad, I freaking did it, man. I got there. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next video.